afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. My name is Dee, and today we'll be going around Belgium on a short qualifying lap of 22 laps, quite a long lap. And we're just waiting on a couple more drivers to arrive, and we'll be kicking off at 8:05. Now, if you weren't here last week we were in, I believe it was the Netherlands, and the winner for that race was Exotic F1. In P2, we have Neo. In P3, we have Alex from El España, Spain. Mr. Mancan came fourth, and the steps finished your top five. The championship order at the moment stands as Alpine is currently at the top with 123 points, with Sauber with 108, and Aston Martin in P3 with 85 points. The rest of the championship is quite tight, and the driver that's leading the current charge in the championship is the Steps F1 in P1. P2 is Original M, or Arthur, as some of you know him. Then Exotic F1 is in P3, and Gogo and Mr. Mancan finishes the top five. A few drivers are yet to come off the mark in Kiron in P20, but most drivers, if not every, have scored a point or two. Now today, the race ahead, we are in Belgium, and currently we have 16 drivers in the lobby. We have Alex Hendricks in the Red Bull. We have the Mercedes pair of the returning Haaland or Marvinovic, as some of you may know him, with Clinical Games. In the Ferrari, we have Exotic and Switcheroo. McLaren, we have Mr. Mancan by himself. In the Aston Martin, we have the Gogo and Tong, a legendary pairing that seems to be doing very well with P3, the Constructors' Championship. And the legendary pairing that's currently leading Constructors' Championship is the Steps F1 and Sir Spongy. The Williams duo of David Clark and Reza. Visa Cash App RB with Tree Monkey and Curry. And in the Kick Sauber, we have Original M and Gaia returning. So the race will be kicking off in 15 seconds. Do let me know in the comments who is your favorite driver for today. Looking at the TT standing, I can see that Switcheroo is currently boasting a 1 minute 41.3, which is something to go off. The prediction for today, what it will be, hopefully it's not raining when we get into the actual qualifying, because that could throw a spanner in the works. And if it's raining in the race, that could also be a hesitation for the driver. Cool, and we're off. And it seemed that the weather is dry for both qualifying and for the race. So looking ahead, there's no movement in pit lane at the moment. As you know, few drivers will probably go out on the medium compound set of tires to save those soft tires. But the strategy can prove to be quite interesting. So the optimal or predicted tire strategy is soft tires for 10 laps. Then you switch to the medium tires for 12 laps. Again, could be a very interesting strategy. Hence why we see Haaland at the moment on the medium set of tires. We have someone going out in the Aston Martin. I believe that's the step. No, Gogo. That's currently going out at the moment. Now we have Exotic F1 that follows him on the soft compound of tires. As we know, the steps normally tends to go out on the medium set of tires, and Haaland is following him. One of the fastest qualifiers of the season has been Haaland, followed by Original M. But within that top echelon, we want to look for Haaland, Exotic F1, Switcheroo, and Original M. Mr. Man can sometimes pull out a stormer of a lap. So do have a look out for him. The Gogo, also who we're currently viewing at the moment, is an exceptional qualifier. You may find that today the lap times or the warm-up session are different because it's such a long lap. So drivers will have the optimum time to get the tire temperatures up to the right tire. I believe we're working up the C5 compounds today, or C4. So it's around 85 to 90, I think 94 degrees that the tires need to be. So it probably is a little bit easier along such a long lap of Spa. And if you're interested in the details of how long it is, it's 7 kilometers long with 22 corners. The full race distance is 154 kilometers with 19 corners, and the lap record is held by Sergio Perez this year, actually, with a 144.7, an average speed of 273 kilometers. So you want a relatively low downforce setup with a safety car probability of around 75%. So drivers will have to keep that into consideration, especially into turn one at the beginning of the race. That's where most safety cars tend to come out. The pit stop time is around 18.9 seconds. It's not an incredibly long pit stop compared to certain tracks. And Gogo is currently off on his flying lap. Alex Hendricks has managed to rejoin. I believe another McLaren will be joining the race too. I believe that McLaren is Rodwell, who we saw last week. So off the go goes with that does rhyme on his hot lap, and he puts a 31 second per sector. Now for these corner names, I am not the best with them. Obviously, we do know a few legendary corner names, but for the most part, I don't know any. So I'm just going to call it by the corner numbers or the sector numbers. My apologies for that. On board we have the go-go. It looks like the front end is just slipping a little bit, so he has quite a lot of understeer in that Aston Martin as he struggles to turn it off. He barely misses the grass there. Purple in the first sector. That's because he's the first driver out on a lap. As he barrels his way down to the bus stop chicane, about 200 miles per hour, hitting the apex left and the right, and floors it all the way to the line with his deployment for the user with a 142.9. The next driver across the line, believe it is Curry, who's beginning his lap, and Exotic F1 goes above him with a 142.7. Great lap from Exotic. We have Mr. Mankind that is coming up to, I believe, yeah, he's on a flyer at the moment. Currently on a hot lap, 90% ERS used, overtake mode enabled, run up to the line, puts it P1 for 41.2. Down below we have the Saab Original M coming up to the line, and he's going to finish his lap with a 41.7, quite competitive. Then we have Sir Spongy with a 43.2, and I believe a few other drivers are beginning their laps. Harlan puts his time with 41.7. I believe he's on a medium set of tyre, and so is Switcheroo. So for Switcheroo and Harlan, there's a lot more pace to come because their time is very similar to those of Mr. Mancan and Exotic F1, who are currently on the soft compound of tyres. Kinnickle Games goes P9 and Tree Monkey finishes it with 45. Kinnickle Games are 43, similar to Sir Spongy and Fraser. So those guys will need to have at least a second improvement if they want to get into the top three of this qualifying spot. We're currently on board riding with Tongue, who's currently on his flying lap at the moment. And he smashes the brake marking board to absolute pieces. trying to extend the track as far as possible to carry the most speed within the track. He locks up, goes a bit deep, but brings and carries the speed around the downhill section, tight, twisty section of Spa as he heads down to the long left hander of Sector 2. And he puts in a 14.5, 114.5 for Sector 2. Not the most competitive time, but let's see where this will put him within the rankings. He's looking to be around his teammate, the Go-Go, for 142.9. So that would be an ideal place for him to be. As he puts himself exactly there, just ahead of his teammate with the 142.7. So great job from Tong here. I believe we're on board with David Clark. At the moment, David Clark is currently on his flying lap on a set of soft tires in the Williams. And again, within the championship battle, David Clark will want to put himself in and amongst the Aston Martin, so that's a 1 minute 42. And Exotic goes faster, even faster, just a little bit faster than Mr. Mankin, but a whole 5 tenths improvement on his personal best, which is a 142.238. So great stuff from the Ferrari. But we have more to come from Citroën and Haaland. Haaland, who's just out of the pits at the moment. I believe he's going for another run on those medium set of tires. But we go back on board with David Clark, who bows his way down to the bus stop chicane, goes to the left, drifts the car around, bit too much oversteer there, flicks it into overtake mode, DRS open, barrels his way down, and he puts himself into P5 just above Haaland. Haaland, who we're looking at right now, who's on a 4/10 improvement on medium tires. Oh my word. He goes 2,000th faster than Exotic F1, and he's on medium compound tires. Not just any medium compound tires, he's on 3-lap-old medium tires. So these are tires, he hasn't changed his set of tires. He's on the same tire he started with 10 minutes ago. Great job from Haaland and a great return to mark his territory. So these guys have a lot. Will he strap on a set of soft compound tires? Maybe, maybe not, but it seems like he doesn't need to. We go on board now with the Go-Go, who's beginning his flying lap. We'll check back on him a little bit later. I just want to stay on board with the Steps F1 now, who's on his medium compound tire run. So let's see where this can put him as he barrels his way down the back straight into the bus stop chicane. Heavy braking from 200 miles per hour, clip both chicanes, hot lap mode on, overtake mode on, and he puts in a 144.5. As we know of the steps, he's not the fastest one-lap driver, but he definitely is one of the best, if not the best, race strategist. Hence why he's in P1 in the championship. And it goes to prove it's not what happens on the Saturday, it's what happens on the Sunday, retrospectively speaking, via F1 terms, because he puts such a masterful performance in race time. And we have Rodrill, who's joined us now. So IRT Rodrill, Mr. Mankent's teammate now, and he's invalidated his first lap. I believe that's on purpose because he just wants to get those tires heated and warmed. There's a few drivers out on their hot laps at the moment. As Rodrill begins his flying lap. But while all of that is happening, I'll check in on Switcheroo, who's 1/10 up on his personal best. As we stand, nearly 1.5 tenths. This will keep him in the same position that he is. He will need a significant improvement of about 5 tenths to put himself into P1. So let's have a look at this. believe Mr. Mankin is going for his flying lap now, so that's something to check in with as we get closer to crunch time. So does Curry, who's currently sitting on a 151, which is in 16th position. So he will need a significant improvement to be competitive, and so will his teammate Tree Monkey. Now we're on board with Switcheroo, who's coming down to the bus stop chicane. I believe the Alpine gets well out of his way as he takes a very long corner. I believe now he's starting his flying lap. That was a warm-up lap that we saw because it's 3 tenths down. I believe he abandoned that lap at some point during, then we're on board now with Original M, who is currently matching his personal best. No improvement from him, just slightly down on his personal best. Oh, so slightly. Into the bus stop chicane we come for Original M. Pins the throttle down, turn the overtake mode on, run to the line, and he puts it P4, a 2/10 improvement. Purple last sector, the best of anyone that we've seen. His teammate Gaia goes a 143.6, still in 13th position. Switcheroo is currently nearly 2/10 up on his personal best. His teammate Exotic F1 is just down the road and will probably give him a nice slip through him all the way to the bus stop chicane down the long back straight. Will they be working together? I believe he's a little bit too far for the slipstream to work, as we see Original, all the guys getting out of his way, as he has a 4/10 improvement. Remember I said and he boxes. It's not enough to take pole position away. Guys, the man of the hour, Haaland, is going on his final lap on soft compound tires. Remember, he put the tires, or the time that he has on the board, has all come from a medium set of tires. So this is very, very interesting, as we don't have any significant there's no significant updates in timings at the moment. First Bungie, the Alpine boys that's currently leading the championship, definitely needs to get a move on, because can be a bit spicy if you get locked in the pack. And Haaland it doesn't go purple in the first sector. It's an improvement, but that's not what's important. What's important is it's the middle sector. And he's backed out of his lap. He's abandoned that lap. It's not ready. Tires are not ready. So he'll recharge, cool the tires down, then reheat them, and then go again. As we see, Haaland gets the improvement that he needs. a tenth up. Slight step of oversteer coming into the second sector. But the Go-Go has retired from this session in P9. I'm not too sure what exactly happened there. We can get his thoughts after the race. Tong, his teammate, is currently on a lap. All drivers should be on their out laps at the moment or coming up to their final laps. But we go on board with Alan, who we expect to be P1 after the times that he sets in P2. And Original M, one of the title contenders, has retired from the qualifying session. But we go back on board with Alan, who blitzes the middle sector, nearly 3 tenths up, fastest in the middle sector. Barrels his way down to the bus stop chicane. He has a bit of traffic ahead of him, but I believe by the time he gets there, they will move out the way. And through the bus stop chicane we come. Nice apex. He gets right in the curb really well, pinning the power down, keeping the car right on the control. ERS mode activated, and he does a 141.7. Wow. Just under 5 tenths clear of anyone else around him. Crazy stuff. And we have a few drivers, Tong, and I believe the other person is Rodwell, who's just starting their final laps now. So all drivers are starting their final laps now. However, Tree Monkey still within the pits. Gaia still within the pits, didn't get out in time. And Tree Monkey will be starting from 16th, Gaia from 7th position. But all eyes currently on the Ferrari boy at the moment, Switcheroo, who's 3.5 tenths up on his personal best, barreling down to the middle sector. Should he have abandoned his personal first lap? And he has a massive snap of oversteer. Oh my word, that puts him P4, 3 tenths improvement. Now the previous run he abandoned, he was nearly 4 tenths up. That would have placed him in P3. So should he have abandoned that? We'll let us see. P4 for Switcheroo. Next person across the line is Clinical Games. Clinical Games has invalidated his run. Unlucky for Clinical Games. Rizza is up on his personal best. Where will this put Rizza? Same position, 10th position. No changes for him. Next person across the line is Mr. Mancan. Where will Mr. Mancan? He's invalidated. His teammate is still, Rodro, is 7 tenths up on their personal best. Curry is 2 tenths up on their personal best. Haaland is coming into pit. The next Ferrari we have coming across the line now, Exotic F1. Where will he put? No improvement from Exotic F1. Rodro, the next person coming across the line. Where will this put Rodwell? Rodwell, where can he put his McLaren? And he puts it P10, not good enough. But we have Tong, who puts his Aston in P4. Amazing stuff from Tong, and that's your top 5. Haaland, Exotic, Mr. Mankang, Ton, and Switcheroo. Original M will be kicking himself because I'm not sure why he retired, but he has a lot more pace. This is amazing from Haaland. 2 tenths gap for the field. Mr. Mancan, Exotic F1, that is a showdown to be seen. Switcheroo P5, Original M P6. And the race is about to begin. Which drivers will go on soft tires? Which drivers start on the hards? Will there be a medium at the beginning? That should be a race tire. But let's see. I believe some drivers want to know the fuel. You want to go to the fuel that will take you to the end of the race, my friend. So now your top three drivers: Haaland, Exotic F1, and I believe it's Mr. Mancan. Who will be the king of Spa? Drivers, remember, formation lap is on. So do you remember that? We'll put up the telemetry data. I'll probably take off this one here since I don't understand it. But the tires at the moment, we have a very mixed bag. Exotic F1 is on the soft compound of tires. Most drivers have opted for the medium tires as their beginning of the race stint. The only drivers on the hard tires is the Gogo and P9. All drivers currently warming, weaving their tires up, getting ready. Tong, we know, is a fierce rival, fierce battler in that P4 position. Switcheroo, we know, is a master of the switch and ruin. Original M. Original M is Switcheroo's arch nemesis, and they've come up together in season 1, and they meet in season 2 on P5 and P6. David Clark, one of our newest drivers in P7. Gaia, can he pass David Clark to help his teammate out of Original M? The Gogo, we know he's qualified out of position, but he has exceptional speed in P9. Rodrigo, again, exceptional speed, but I believe he only had one run at qualifying and he made it stick, and he's in P10. Rizza, one of the drivers, hopefully he can keep his car in good nick to go after the leaders. Steps F1, again, I told you, not the best qualifier, but one of the best point scorers that we have in Blaze Division here. And probably any driver that I've ever driven with. He's that good, and he can get well within the points. Alex Hendricks, his arch nemesis, is just above him in the Williams of Rizza. He's on a soft compound of tires. How high up can he get? And Sir Spongy, a master technician, him and Steps F1 needs to get through this pack to be able to make their way through the pack, but he's qualified well out of position into P4. Pinnacle Games, Curry, and Tree Monkey will be battling out of who not to be last. Up ahead, we have Haaland, who's coming up to his great position. He puts it well over to the left, sorry, right-hand side, and he angles his car directly towards Exotic F1. And Exotic F1 positions his car well away from him. That is a very steep angle from Haaland. Gaia and Rodrigo have been disqualified, probably for incorrect grid position. One of the Alex Hendricks parked incorrectly, Curry parked incorrectly, so there may be a bit of a delay to the start, but we have the lights going off now. 3, 4, 5 red lights, and lights out, and away we go. Haaland gets a great start, but Exotic F1 gets an even better start, and he's right on the back of him, and he sends it up the inside of Haaland. Exotic F1 takes the lead of the Belgium Grand Prix. There's a collision between the Gogo. The Gogo is around, and he's gone for a spin, and so has Curry in the RB. Up ahead, we have Haaland right on the back of Exotic F1, and he goes for the move, but Tong is right there. Remember, I told you to watch out for him. He's also going for the move as well. Back on Haaland, and will Tong get the move? Yes, he will. Contact, and Tong gets sent down the field, and he's dropping through the field. And the Original M goes around the outside of Tong. Slight argy-bargy there from the drivers in the Gaia in the kick Sauber. Has Alex gets past Gaia. Rodwell retains 10th position. Up ahead, we can see there's still drivers jostling for position. Exotic F1 has dropped the throttle and pulled an 8/10 gap to Haaland. Incredible stuff. The Red Bull of Alex Hendrick is making places as he goes along, cutting and carving his way through. Remember, he was well below Rizza, and he's one of the biggest gainers on this lap. Up ahead, we can see Switcheroo trying to make his move with Mr. Mancan, and Switcheroo's past Mr. Mancan by the time we switch to him. Someone has smashed those brake marker boards, and Switcheroo's well past him. Alex Hendrick is right on the back of David Clark. David Clark needs to definitely watch out because Alex Hendrick is riding his gearbox as Exotic F1 is the fastest man on track. The Go-Go has pitted and I believe he may be retiring. I am not sure. Yes, he is. He has retired from this race. Unfortunate for the Go-Go. I will message him after the race to find out exactly what has occurred. We can see that Curry is trailing the pack by 3 seconds down. We can see Tung is trying to get back the position from Mr. Mancan that he lost on the opening lap. And it looks like to be all settled down now. So I'll go to look for the changes in position. And we can see some of the biggest gainers is Alex Hendricks, Clinical Gains, and Tree Monkey has inherited. But Alex Hendricks has inherited 6 positions now. Alex Hendricks flies past Gaia, and Gaia's battling for his life as Roger is pushing him around the long left-hander off the middle sector. Will he send it up the inside? And Gaia is definitely struggling for position as Alex Hendricks gets 6 places. Wow, well into the points. The Steps has retained position. Clinical Games 2 positions. Sir Spongy retained position. Mr. Mancan, Tung, and Highland has all lost 1 position as Switcheroo gets past 2 cars. And as we can see, Highland is right back in the DRS zone of Exotic F1. Very interesting stuff as he now takes the fastest lap, which is immediately snatched away by Mr. Mancan for 45.1. Incredible stuff, ladies and gentlemen, honestly. Up ahead, we can see Mancan taking back the position from Switcheroo. I believe that's just a normal concession of how things will go. Rizza is overtaken by David Clark, his teammate, as the Alpine boys go on the charge, and the DRS is now broken. David Clark has no DRS to play with or to defend from. Now it's Williams versus Alpine, but Clinical Games of the Mercedes is right on the tail of Sir Spongy, right there in the gearbox. Original M gets past Tung. Tung is struggling on those soft tires. As you can see, he's completely dropped away from the field off the leaders. There's a 2-second gap between Original M and Switcheroo, and Original M needs to desperately close up that gap to be able to survive, or else Tung will just be coming directly back at him, which he is now 2 times the gap is. And Tung will probably just get past him on the back straight here unless Original M can deploy all of its ERS. Down below we can see the Williams versus Alpine drama has stayed the same. Has Red Bull of Alex Hendrick looked up the inside of Tung. Alex Hendrick is on a flyer at the moment. Up ahead we can see Highland, who's taken the lead of this race, has put in the fastest lap of this race, and there is now a collision. Clinical Games has a 10-second penalty for a severe collision with the Alpines and the Williams. It looks like the Steps has lost position. The Steps is in 50th place. Remember, the Steps is fighting for this championship. He's leading the championship, so he can't afford to have a race without scoring a point. It's crucial for him. Incredible stuff. As we see Alex Hendricks, wow, getting past Tung, one of the top drivers of today, and he's well within the DRS zone of Original M, who can drag him to the leaders. Original M does have those pace in his medium tires, and Alex Hendricks definitely needs to stick with Original M. or pass him if he has the pace. Remember, the strategy, those on the soft go to lap 10, switch to the medium compound of tires. Those on the medium compound of tires go to about lap 12, lap 13, and then switch for the remaining laps on the soft compound of tires. So, interesting stuff. Remember, Exotic F1 needs to stay within the DRS of Hallen to be able to do the undercut on him. The undercut is inevitable because he's on those soft compound of tires. So, you want to have that advantage over your competitor. Again, as we see more has Gaia versus Rodrill versus Tong, free into the bus stop chicane, and Gaia's around. Gaia is around, and through goes the Williams of David Clark. David Clark gets past Gaia. RZA's right on the back of Gaia, and Sir Sponge is about to overtake RZA, and someone's in the wall of the Visa Cash Up RB off Tree Monkey. Has no front wing or damage to the left side or right side of his front wing. Up ahead, we can see the gaps have stabilizers, but Switcheroo's making his way past Mr. Mankin as these two are just switching and ruin. Down below, we can see Alex Hendricks and David Clark battling it out at the moment. Has Alex Hendricks, Gaia and David Clark. Clinical Games versus the Steps F1. The Steps F1 finally gets past him in an incredible move there. We completely missed it on camera, but incredible stuff. Again, Switcheroo gets past Exotic F1. Exotic F1, something is happening. He just gets swallowed up by Switcheroo and Mr. Mancan. Remember, a couple laps ago, I was talking about Exotic F1 doing the undercut. Virtually last lap. Now he's in 4th position. So these guys that are in P5 all the way down to P14 can still get in it. And Tung, we can see, who was currently well up there, is in P15. What happened to Tung? He was right up there. I'm not too sure what happened. Maybe a collision occurred? Very, very interesting stuff here. Ladies and gentlemen, forgive my silence. There's just not a lot happening on the track at the moment. I believe drivers are just settling into their race. Just as Mr. Mankin again overtakes Switcheroo. Again, just a regular concession. Gaia, Rodrill, and David Clark are in a battle of their own. Alex Hendricks cannot pull away from this field, as their hard tires or medium tires is now working. As you can see, David Clark sends it up the inside of Alex Clark, makes contact with the Red Bull, still wheel-locking with the Red Bull and pushes him off. Alex Hendricks gives a 3-second penalty for being forced off track, and through goes Rodrill. 3 cars overtaking Alex Hendricks, promoting him to P9 from P3. He is not happy with that. I can tell you, I would not be happy with that either, as David Clark forces him out wide. I believe that could be grounds for being an appeal for Alex Hendricks to remove that 3-second penalty, because that is quite unfair. But down below we can see Sir Spongy capitalizing on that and getting into the DRS of Alex Hendricks just outside of it. Can he burn his ERS to get back within this group, within this pack? We can see the steps have won and has finally cleared Clinical Games. Clinical Games has just been overtaken by Curry, who's made his way past the Steps F1. The Steps F1 needs to now breeze past RZA and push his way up to his teammate to be able to challenge for this. As RZA goes incredibly wide, where is he going? The Steps F1, will he make the switch back? Will he send the dive bomb in? No, he just line him up for the main straight. Put the power down, get the DRS and sail right past him. Up ahead we can see Alex Hendricks, Rodrill, David Clark is all fighting for P6. David Clark weaving his way as Rodrill now sends it But Alexander goes around the inside, he's 3 down, coming into the main chicane. No contact. How was there no contact? But Rodro is through, but David Clark is going for the switchback, and David Clark sends it down the inside of Rodro. Rodro gives him the space. David Clark pins it on the inside, but Rodro survives another day. But Alex Hendricks is taking advantage on David Clark around the long left-hander down the bottom of the hill. Wow. Intense racing from these guys. Well done. As Tom gets a 3-second penalty, and that's probably his race completely over. He has pitted, but a bit too early for the hard compound of tires. Sticking with this lead group while they're going down to the bus stop chicane. I'll give an update on the front group. Haaland is 2 seconds up the road. He's absolutely legged it. Switcheroo then follows him, followed by Mancan and Exotic F1. Original M is in a no man's land, which he's not in an undercut range, nor he's in an overcut range. He can just stay in a race of his own. Down to the bus stop chicane now, as we have Gaia send it on Alex, as Rodro ghost, and Alex Hendricks takes advantage of that. And he's through on Rodro. Gaia now goes on the inside of Rodro. Sir Spongy looking for an opportunity, but cannot find anything. 62% in his ERS tank. Where will he place his Alpine? This is incredible stuff, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, DRS open, ERS open. David Clark moving around, trying to break the slipstream. And Mr. Mancan has a 3-second penalty. Wow. That is big stuff for the lead, as Rodro gets past Alex Hendricks. Rodro is now trying to chase after this guy, sends it down the inside of Alex Hendricks. They make contact, Guy nearly loses the car, and Sir Spongy trying to capitalize on this, but not enough space, and the door is slammed in his face. Mr. Mancan has a 3-second penalty, crucial for the race ahead, and that race is with Switcheroo and the Ferrari boys for the championship. And if it finishes the way it finishes now, they will take control of the championship from Alpine. Alpine at the moment, as it stands, will get 1 point. Actually, I believe the championship orders have now been changed, and we're not going by traditional F1 rules anymore. I believe you get points all the way from P1 down to P20. So these guys will get points, but the Ferrari boys will get significantly more. As now we have Gaia going around the outside of Alex Hendricks. Didn't make it stick, trying the inside, trying every possible move to try to get past Alex Hendricks on those old soft compound of tires. And this is why Alex Hendricks is struggling, as Alex Hendricks goes deep and through goes Gaia. But now Alex Hendricks will have the DRS, because up ahead Gaia is 1.8 seconds away from Rodro, who doesn't have a DRS, and pit stops for Curry and pit stops for Rizza on the hard compound of tires. And now we have Gaia versus Alex Hendricks. Alex Hendricks flies by Gaia, will spur Spongy to the 7, so Spongy goes up the inside of Gaia, but backs out of it, does not commit. Incredible angles that we have here, ladies and gentlemen. This is crazy, to be fair. As we have now Gaia and Alex Hendricks battling it out, absolutely tooth and nails. I believe it's almost time for Gaia to pit. Alex Hendricks to pit. He made an immaculate start from, I believe, P14, P13, and now he's in P9. At one point he was in P6, so he will need to pit. If he pits, he will overcut or undercut everyone ahead of him. Switcheroo is dropping back bit by bit. Exotic F1 has completely lost pace of the leaders, 1.5 seconds from Mr. Mancan in third place. Original M is closing in on Exotic F1. Exotic F1 will need to pit before Original M is within his undercut range to keep that advantage. The steps, I don't know where this guy came from, but somehow he's now ahead of Alex Hendricks, who's battling him. Alex Hendricks is now pitted. He's heard the call, he's heard my warning, and he's pitted. The steps F1 is ahead of Sir Spongy. I don't know when that happened. I truly believe the steps is a musician because I'm pretty sure I saw the steps above Curry. Incredible stuff as they're doing some teammate magic here for the steps F1 to try to catch Gaia and pull them along. They're doing immaculate teammate work. They may not be the fastest in the grid over one lap, but they're definitely some of the best coordinated teammates. The next pair we have is Switcheroo and Exotic F1, who is currently in P3 and P4. Switcheroo is now on the gearbox of Mr. Mancan. I believe he'll just sit there. Probably want to get past to have a go at Haaland, but Haaland is in a field of his own. Speaking of Haaland, he's again chilling. His teammate Clinical Gains is not. He's in 11th place with a penalty and 9-lap old hard medium tires. But he will need to get a move on immediately. Rodwell now, we're going on board with Rodwell is right on the back of David Clark, and Rodwell, if you didn't know, is a teammate with Mr. Mancan. And he went off track just then. I believe his car skateboarded over the chicane, coming onto the back straight. I believe we see a gap forming here of Gaia, Rodwell. Gaia is now sending up the inside of Rodwell. He goes now for the outside. Rodwell defends the inside. Careful not to crash into David Clark. Pins it on the back of David Clark. Gaia goes for the switchback and Gaia almost gets it. Makes contact with Rodwell. There's a bit of spike lag right there. And David Clark is almost in the barrier. 3 wide through Rouge. Incredible stuff. As Rodwell comes out on top, and will he have the DRS? Yes, Rodwell has the DRS. David Clark does not. As this is just helpful for the Alpine boys, who is now on the scene. Gaia tries, he taps the back of David Clark, hopefully, but through goes the steps F1, and will Sir Spongy follow? Will he send it up the inside of him? No, he pins it around, just slots in behind of him. There's a bit of a spike lag, at least on my screen, maybe not for the drivers, but I can see it as the steps F1 is through into P7, right on the back of David Clark, right well into the points. Incredible now all the soft compound tire runners have pitted. And remember I said a pit stop in this game is 18.3 seconds. Well, it seems like Alex Hendricks is well in that on 1 lap old tires. By the time these guys pit, he can probably undercut all of them. But the difference is they can go onto soft compounded tires to easily get him back. So Alex Hendrick will need to absolutely pin it. But look who's coming into the pits. Big Haaland. And he's going on the hard compound of tires. Different strategy from what was predicted. No one is trying out these soft tires all the way to the end. Maybe it's too hot. Maybe they absolutely get destroyed. But he needs to get out ahead of this group that's coming down. He cannot be swallowed up by Rodwell and Co. And he does. He's 1.1 second clear of everyone. And Gaia and David Clark now pits. Clinical Games pits. Where will Alex Hendrick comes out? Alex Hendrick gets past them both. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But no, he's right behind David Clark, and Alex Hendricks will be afforded the DRS to get right back past him. Up ahead, we can see the steps F1 is now past Rodwell. Sir Spongy is with him as well. They're both going through this traffic as best as they can. Will they go on the hard compound tires? For the information, they are slow. The hard compound of tires is slow. We're not seeing Alex Hendrick make significant gain of it. He's past David Clark, but he's not making way on the steps of Exotic F1. He is now pitted. Exotic F1 is now pitted. However, he has tremendous amount of traffic in front of him of Sir Spongy, Rodwell, and the steps F1. These guys do not have to move out the way for him because they are all racing for position. This is not a blue flag situation. Haaland pitted at the right time with the right amount of gap to come out ahead of this gaggle of cars. Up ahead, we can see Mr. Mankin and Switcheroo, who now has a penalty. I believe that is a 3-second penalty for Switcheroo. All drivers on track at the moment have a 3-second penalty. As we can see, pit for the steps, Rodrill and Original M. Soft tires for Original M. What is it for the steps? What tires will the steps go on? And he will go on the soft compound of tires too. Great job from the steps. Rodrill will go on the soft compound of tires too. This is incredible. How Sir Spongy lines up Exotic F1. Exotic F1 does not need this right now. He is battling for the win of this race, but Sir Spongy does not care. And he overtakes Exotic F1 on those hard medium tires. As you can see, Exotic F1 closes right back up to Sir Spongy, screaming to get out of his way. Sir Spongy says, no, we are fighting, but he's very fair. Hard racing, but fair. Again, this has ruined any undercut chance that Exotic F1 has on Mr. Mankan and Switcheroo. I believe he will just about get it, but again, that's about it. Up ahead, we can see Rodrill has come out ahead of David Clark. Has these gaggle of cars now come around. At the head of it is the Steps F1. But Gaia forces Rodrill on the gravel. Through goes David Clark, and right in the back is Tong on those hard 7-lap tires. Wow. Could possibly be a penalty if Rodrill reports that from Gaia, of Gaia forcing him out wide. Now we can see Switcheroo now pitting. Switcheroo pitting on to a set of soft compound tires. Hallam's on the medium tires. This will be a race to the end. Where will Exotic F1 come out in relation to his teammate? His teammate is now coming through the main straight, and he gets past his teammate. Has Switcheroo now leaves the pit lane directly behind his teammate, and he clears Original M, but Original M has made up time on them both. Sir Spongy is now in the pits on the soft compound tires. Alex Hendricks is now past them all. So now, game, set, match. Attack, attack, attack. The Steps F1 now has 6 laps or 8 laps to attack, and he's right on the gearbox of Alex Hendricks. Down below, we have the Sir Spongy, who's now come out directly behind all this gaggle of cars, of these early pit stop tires. So this should be easy picking for him, and first up on the list is Curry. Where will Sir Spongy put his Alpine? And there's contact ahead, and Tong is causing a blockade in the road as he gets a bit of a wiggle, blocking the inside, locking up, going deep, and there's a crash as Tong and Rizza make contact and goes off into the gravel. Sir Spongy capitalizing from this and now only needs to get past one car ahead. If there's a safety car, Mr. Mankan will benefit from this, but unfortunately all cars are through. So Mr. Mankan will need to pit this lap, and he does so. He will go on to the medium set of tires. Down below we can see Original M closing on the back of Switcheroo. Switcheroo not closing the quickest on his teammate, has Hallam puts in the fast time of 144.993. Great stuff from the pair, but Original M smashes that to bits with 144.3, and he gets past Original M, battling for position as they exit the pit lane. Original M comes out ahead of Mr. Mankan. The Steps F1 clears Alex Hendricks and is now well into the point in 6th position. 13 seconds from the next car. Down below we have Gaia and Rodrill and David Clark all fighting for this top 10 position. Now we have Gaia making a movement. Alex Hendricks. Gaia gets moved done on Alex Hendricks on those hard compound of tires. And as you can see, my prediction is correct. Those soft tires are absolutely flying. The medium tires are not holding up as best as they should. We'll check on board back with Sir Spongy. Is he making gains on David Clark? Yes, he is. 1.7 second the gap is. We'll just monitor that now for the second. Up ahead, we can see now Switcheroo, Mr. Mancan, Exotic F1. Exotic F1 gets past everyone, makes the moves count and the undercut count. I believe he lost time with battling Sir Spongy, and you can see that time is reflected between the gap between himself and Exotic F1 as Haaland puts in another fastest lap of the race for 1:44.15. Incredible stuff. And a 3-second penalty for the Steps F1. That is not good. Gaia is within that 3-second penalty, so if they finish how they are now, the Steps F1 will drop to P9, P10, because he has he has 5 drivers. So that's Gaia all the way down to Sir Spongy within 3 seconds of him. So he will need to put the hammer down. There is a crash. Someone has crashed. Not too sure who's crashed. But someone's tumbled down the order as now Sir Spongy goes on the defense between Rodwell now. Rodwell. And Alex Hendricks pushes Gaia wide out, and Gaia and Alex Hendricks is having a ding-dong of a fight. I believe there will be reports made after this race because, these two have been going at it the entire race, with Gaia forcing Alex Hendricks out to begin with. So that's something to look forward to. Up ahead, we can see Original M is in P3. Amazing race, flown completely under the radar, and has made himself place himself into that P3 position. Tong and Gogo is out. The Aston Martins are out. That is bad for the championship. They're P3 in the championship, and both Astons are out of this race. Gaia is now dropped away completely from Rodwell, and is being chased by Curry and Alex Hendricks. Up ahead, we can see Rodwell now gets past Sir Spongy. Sir Spongy trying to hold him off and trying to use the DRS. And Moy Cooley has joined. One of our OGs has joined, and I believe he's spectating. Hello, Moy Cooley. Good to see you, my friend. As Sir Spongy is battling David Clark, lines him up for the long DRS straight, and Original M is getting swallowed up, and Original M crashes into the wall. Oh my word. What has happened to Original M? The Ferrari boys, Mr. Mancan, I'm not too sure what happened to Original M there, but he has a very, very broken front wing. Can he bring that car home? Alex Hendricks retires in the pit lane. Again, not sure what happened with him either. Something happened between Original M and Switcheroo. We know that they're great rivals, but I'm not too sure what happened. Rodwell gets a 3-second time penalty. This could be amazing for Sir Spongy. If he can manage to get past these guys, he will benefit tremendously from all the penalties up ahead. So will David Clark, and so will any of these drivers that have not received a penalty, because penalties have been handed out left, right and center. True Monkey is 48 seconds off from the next car ahead of him, so he's about to be lapped, if not lapped already, by Haaland. There we go, down the bus stop chicane we go, has David Clark sent it up the inside of Rodwell, fails, tries to switch back, so Spongy follows him in. Spongy is desperately clinging on, but what will happen, David Clark goes for the inside, but there is a crazy glitch on my screen, and David Clark is glitching around, so Spongy does not know where to brake, because David Clark is teleporting everywhere, but he sets him up, lines him up. Nothing can save him from this attack that's about to come from Sir Spongy. ERS overtake mode enabled, DRS enabled, And here goes Sir Spongy and David Clark. But David Clark has the aid of the DRS from Rodwell. Both of them attacking Rodwell. David Clark sends it up the inside of Rodwell, and that is an absolute send of a move. Great move from David Clark. And that is P6 for him. Up ahead, we can see the Steps F1 has pulled out a 5-second gap on David Clark. He is well secured within the points. He just needs to avoid getting another 3-second penalty. Down below, we can see Gaia and Curry are fighting it out for the edges of the points. Incredible stuff from Gaia and Curry. Gaia receives another 3-second penalty. David Clark is overtaken by Rodwell. Sir Spongy is getting a bit frustrated of David Clark's connection teleported around. You can see him shaking his car, not knowing where to position his car because this car keeps jumping across his screen. Down below, we can see Original M has pitted and is on a fresh set of soft tires. That will need to be investigated. Original M, if you can hear this, do report what happened, and we will investigate it. Incredible stuff. He drove from, I believe, P5, P6, all the way to P3, and well within the points. I'm not too sure exactly what happened of why the collision occurred, but we'll go back to the action as Curry is attacking Gaia down through Eau Rouge, up through Eau Rouge, DRS enabled now, ERS enabled, as Haaland is the latest person to receive a 3-second penalty. As Rodwell is overtaken by Sir Spongy. Sir Spongy through he goes on Rodwell on those hard tires, and you can already see Sir Spongy pulling away from Rodwell. So Rodwell and these gaggle of cars was upholding Spongy. Spongy should be right with his teammates at the Steps F1, but these slower cars have slowed him down a bit. Can Rodwell hang on for points? He's on just one lap older tires than Sir Spongy, but as you can see, he has the pace through the middle sector. And Mr. Mankan is right on the back of Exotic F1, but Mr. Mankan has a 3-second penalty. Let's just check in with our penalty standing. 3 seconds for everyone on our screen at the moment, except for Original M, David Clark, Sir Spongy, and a crucially Exotic F1. But penalties can be removed, so you want to finish ahead on track. Drivers, do remember, screenshot your time in towers before you submit an appeal to us. We cannot remove the penalties unless we see an appeal. As we can see, Mr. Mankan finally gets past him. Incredible stuff there. As we can see, Original M puts in the fastest lap of the race for 1:43. Could have been seriously competitive. Now, Sir Spongy switches on the inside of David Clark. David Clark squeezes him, goes on the outside, but he brakes later, goes around the outside of Sir Spongy and retains that position. Sir Spongy said, no way, and there's slight contact between the two. David Clark tries to go for the move, sends it up the inside. Sir Spongy hangs it around the outside. Will he get this move done? Sir Spongy makes it get done, but David Clark switches again. Wow, David Clark is one of the most fiercest drivers I have ever seen. Hard racing, but fair. And he made Sir Spongy work for that 6th place. It's a 5-6 for the Alpine boys, as I mentioned earlier. If it finishes as it is earlier, Ferrari would be in front, but I believe Alpine has done enough just to fend off Ferrari for a couple more races. Let's see how it spans out in the championship order as they come through and up, down the back straight, up to the bus stop chicane as David Clark lines up Sir Spongy for a move. His ERS is on. Sir Spongy sticks to the outside. Will David Clark send it up the inside? No, he won't. And he does a slight tap on Sir Spongy's rear wheel. That will not be good as David Clark lines him up, DRS on, and it is the penultimate lap of the race, drivers will need to save everything they have for the final positions that are being offered as original inputs in another fastest lap. Amazing stuff there by Original M. Fighting with everything in him to get 10th place. Inherited by Curry with a 3-second penalty as Rodwell goes past Sir Spongy, chasing down David Clark. Both of them gets past Sir Spongy. Sir Spongy will need to put out something incredible now to be able to retain this position. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Blaze Division IRL Inferno Racing League. Who will take the final remaining positions? Penalties will play into this. Penalties can be removed, but drivers only care about what happens on track. Let's go. Hallen leads by nearly 10 seconds to Mr. Mancan. Exotic F1 is lining up Mr. Mancan to take that P2 position from him. He's less than a tenth away from him. Switcheroo comfortably within the 4th place position. The Steps F1, amazing recovery from 14th position all the way to 5th. David Clark in that P6 position on his 9-lap-old hard tyres, trying to defend from Rodwell. He breaks the DRS from Rodwell. Rodwell will definitely need to get back into DRS before the final lap starts. As Hallen starts his final lap, the leaders are almost through sector 1. David Clark gets he gets a time penalty, not good. This is amazing for Sir Spongy because he doesn't have to do anything. Sir Spongy can just inherit this position. Incredible stuff there. Easy P6 there for David Clark. For Sir Spongy. As they go down now through Eau Rouge, down the Camel Straight. As we have Sir Spongy lining up Roger, and he will get past him way before the braking zone. So does Exotic F1. Exotic F1 is past Mr. Mancan. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Sir Spongy now versus David Clark. Hard tires versus the soft tires. Does Spongy have anything left to catch David Clark? But we go up to the leaders. As we can see, Highland nearly 10 seconds away from Exotic F1. But Hallen will be the victor. Upon his return, he's taken several races away from us, but he returns through the bus stop chicane. He comes in the Mercedes, joining his car, giving us a nice burnout show, and he wins. Absolute glory and victory for him as Mr. Mancan sends it up the inside of Exotic F1. Who will get it? Exotic F1 pulls ahead and Exotic F1 gets it from Mr. Mancan. Down below we have Switcheroo coming through to take P4. Well done for Switcheroo. The Steps F1. Amazing stuff from the Steps F1. But we have right here Rodwell versus Sir Spongy. What will happen? Sir Spongy, Rodwell, Sir Spongy, Rodwell. Will Sir Spongy stand it on Rodwell? Rodwell breaks deep. Overshoots the corner, so Spongy can do a switch back on him, puts the power down, not enough, too late, and it is P5 for Sir Spongy, P7 for David Clark, and P8 for Original M. Shame for Original M. Absolute heartbreak. Not sure what happened there, but Roger gets P9 and Gaia completes the top 10 with an amazing ding-dong battle of a race in P10. Curry, P11, Clinical Games, P12, Razor, P13, and your driver of the day, I believe it should have been the Steps F1. It would have been Alex Hendricks, but I believe he's out of the race. Who will the driver of the day be? It is Rodwell. It could be Rodwell, it could be the Steps F1. Let's see when this is all over, said and done. But your winner for your Belgian Spa Grand Prix is none other than Halland, aka Marvinovic, with Exotic F1 coming in P2 in the Ferrari and Mr. Mancan in P3 in the McLaren. Well done to our leaders, well done to the gang. As you can see here, the fastest lap of the race was done by Original M, P4 Switcheroo, 5 the Steps. He started from 12th place. Sir Spongy 14th place is P6. Rodwell from 10th position to P9. So I believe probably the driver today between Switcheroo. It should be a joint between Switcheroo and David Clark. The Steps and Sir Spongy. The Alpine boys should be driver of the day, in my opinion. Down below, we have Clinical Games. Shame for Clinical Games. He literally. I'm getting the names wrong tonight. Apologies, guys. It's been a very long race. Alex Hendricks went from P13 all the way to P6. I believe P5 at one point. Shame for Alex Hendricks. Shout out to all the other racers. And thank you so much for joining us tonight, guys. I've been your host, D. I'll be here next week. Where next week, you do not want to miss it. You absolutely do not want to miss it. Next week will be in Bahrain, the opening race of the season, a race drivers and all drivers should be incredibly comfortable with. Um, I'll see you then. I've been your host, D. Thank you very much. Have a good night.